Good veteran crew.
All right, here we go. Miller and P.J. Brown.
And we're going to play basketball.
It looks like we are. And the season is underway here in Oklahoma City, and it will be Sacramento with the first possession. Glad to have you with us on Comcast Sportsnet. Jerry, hard to believe that tomorrow's the one-year anniversary, and already the Kings start off with a turnover, and here comes the very athletic J.R. Smith. He got better and better as the season went on. Last year he missed it, but he can jump out of the gym.
Well, he is very quick. Certainly has been scoring a lot of points in preseason. I think they expect him to be their leading scorer.
And Miller with a good look, but it rimmed out.
Well, there'll be a lot of emotion and adrenaline kind of going sky high these first few minutes. Teams just have to settle down, play through it.
Now Paul, the fourth overall pick in the draft, pounding it to P.J. Brown. The turnaround pop, no. And the rebound taken by Stojakovic.
Yeah, excellent defense by Sharif Abdur-Rahim. Really bothered P.J. Brown on that jump shot.
And Mike Bibby, and it's knocked out of bounds, and it will be the Hornets basketball.
Well, Mike Bibby looked like he was going to be able to draw some contact, but did not get the call. Certainly has the strength to kind of force his way through the quicker and smaller Chris Paul.
So we have played a scoreless minute of basketball here from Oklahoma City. And it was slapped out of West's hands, off his knee, and the turnover will go to Sacramento.
Well, West certainly getting an opportunity to play this year. Has not had a lot of time after being a pick out of Xavier, but you know, he will be a key for this team. Has got to be able to give him consistent rebounding and scoring.
And a foul called, and it's on David West, first foul of the ball game, and the Kings will inbound.
David West, a little bit small for a power forward. So really, Kings could have an advantage here with Sharif Abdur-Rahim. Probably has the strength and size to go inside against West.
Now Bibby, the catch and shoot. And again, that rims out, and Sacramento starts off the game with 2 misses and 2 turnovers.
Well, both teams, no question, a little tight right now. That's to be expected.
Now West challenging Abdur-Rahim. Oh, good help defense there. And it's off the foot of West. How'd you like that defense?
Boy, that was really nice. Sharif and Brad Miller just collapsed on David West and blocked it down off his leg. So Kings really a nice rotation.
Much like the Sacramento Monarchs, the fans standing until the first basket is made. I don't think they expected to be standing this long.
Yes, a few of the older fans may collapse on us here.
Here's Bonzi Wells, and he missed it. And the rebound, Sharif. And look at Abdur-Rahim. Put the Kings on the scoreboard.
Just a hustle play by Sharif to get his first hoop as a King.
And here's Paul, and a well defended play there by Brad Miller. So the Kings coming out showing some defense here in the first 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Stojakovic. Now Sharif challenging Nakbar. Oh, he goes right by him, but it's 4-0 Sacramento.
Well, Sharif had Nakbar switched out on him as he lost Peja Stojakovic. Too strong for Nakbar, takes him to the hoop. So Sharif showing that he's going to be a valuable King very quickly.
And the fans still standing and applauding, awaiting the first points of the game from New Orleans. 10 on the shot clock. Now Smith, right back to West, side pop.
Well, that's where you want David West shooting from.
And P.J. Brown finally puts the Hornets on the scoreboard with a second chance opportunity.
Well, the fans will get a sit down now after 3 minutes.
Here's Bonzi Wells. And Bibby with the effort. Good rebound by Bibby to get it to Sharif. And now Bibby with the side pop, no good. And P.J. Brown with the rebound for the Hornets.
Well, good hustle play by the Kings, but Mike Bibby a little short on that jump shot.
And a bad pass. Kings with numbers. 4-on-2, led by Stojakovic, but he made a terrible pass. And back the other way we go. And Paul ties the game at 4.
Well, just a very bad play by the Kings. Peja had the numbers. Kings almost impossible not to get something out of that break. Didn't. And when you don't, you're going to get it turned around on you, and that's exactly what happened. Hornets get the easy 2. Kings don't.
Stojakovic. That 3 is off the heel of the iron. And a loose ball foul on Abdur-Rahim. So Sacramento, Jerry, starts off, they are 2 of 8 shooting. They have also turned it over 3 times. Abdur-Rahim has scored 4 points.
Well, both teams certainly are playing like it's the first game of regular season. Forcing some things, both shooting and handling.
I do like the way the Kings are playing defense, though.
Oh, good effort. There's no question the effort's there. A lot of help.
And that's a trap. And that's the third turnover for the Hornets.
Well, both teams' defense is better than their offense now. There again, not too surprising for that. Things need to settle down, just kind of figure out where their strengths are with the matchup.
Brad Miller. That shot is flagged. And the rebound taken by West. And the Hornets look for their first lead.
Well, Kings have had some really good shots. Brad Miller just two of the kind of shots he loves.
P.J. Brown with the turnaround. Jerry, we talk about the Kings not arriving until this afternoon. Maybe the biggest problem with that is they didn't have a chance to come to the building this morning and have their shoot-around.
Exactly right. It's a building they haven't been in, so you always need some time to get familiar with the building. All the guys did come out early and shoot here at the game, but it's not quite the same as having an hour shoot-around to get used to the background and all.
So it's a 6-4 lead for the Hornets. And here's a long three by J.R. Smith. It's in and out. What a nice job of boxing out by Miller on P.J. Brown.
The Kings really need to get a good shot here and get something to go down.
Bonzi Wells. There it is, and that's a two-pointer to tie the game.
Well, nice ball movement. Mike Bibby finds Bonzi in the corner. Well, I think you'll see both teams start settling down now. A lot of the energy kind of burn off. Settle down, play basketball.
Here's Smith. And he drops it off for West.
Well, David West with a nice penetrating move from J.R. Smith finds West for really an open 15-footer. Smith draws a lot of attention due to his athleticism.
Nobody picked up Bonzi Wells, and he missed it, but he was fouled.
Well,
and he will go to the foul line.
Bonzi just a little bit too strong for Smith. I think not only can he post him, but you see just able to slash to the basket, get all the way to the hoop.
And that foul line not far. First foul. And the second team foul. Well, Folsom Lake Ford and Folsom Lake Toyota want to offer you the opportunity to shoot a half-court shot. You can win a brand new car, truck, SUV at a Kings game. Just stop by Folsom Lake Ford or Folsom Lake Toyota and register for your chance to win. And Bonzi Wells now has 4, and we are tied at 8.
Well, Kings newcomers, Bonzi and Sharif, producing all the points thus far, so that part is really good for Rick Alman.
And a stolen pass. And here's Bibby from Bonzi Wells, and he puts it up, missed it, and a loose ball foul on Bonzi Wells. So again, Jerry, the Kings with numbers, and they don't score.
Well, Kings just really kind of rushing the play. Probably had time to slow down, make sure you get something good. Mike Bibby felt he was fouled. Did look like there's a little push in the back there, but officials being fairly consistent here, letting a lot of things go. You see the turnover situation, both teams a little sloppy.
All right, Speedy Claxton has come in for J.R. Smith. He joins Chris Paul in the backcourt. We show you both teams very sloppy with the basketball here in the first 6 minutes plus of this opening quarter. And good defense again by Brad Miller. Boy, Brad Miller playing outstanding on that side of the floor here in the early going.
And Sharif comes in very strong to get the rebound. So,
Jerry, what a mismatch this is with Bonzi Wells and Speedy Claxton. And it sets up Bibby. There it is. Good ball movement by the Kings. Bonzi passing out of the double team.
Well, that's the thing. You've got a total advantage there. Speedy Claxton cannot possibly guard Bonzi in the low post. Go to him, draw the double team, or take advantage of the size difference.
So Mike Bibby on the scoreboard with his first basket in 4 opportunities.
Well, that's great. Mike gets that stroke going. He might go for 10 in a row.
And the rookie, no. And Bibby with the long rebound. Kings come back 3 on 4. Brad Miller, he is unguarded.
And that's what happens. You cannot leave Brad Miller open there. Has missed a couple of easy ones, but Brad's not going to miss all night long from that spot.
So a 13-8 Sacramento lead with 4 minutes and 40 seconds left here in the opening quarter. Now Claxton looking to turn into the paint. West. And he missed it. And look at Bonzi Wells in the effort.
Boy, just great effort by Bonzi. Took it away from David West, the power forward. So Bonzi playing like a power forward himself.
And that gets us to a mandatory timeout as Claxton fouled Mike Bibby. So a 13-8 Sacramento lead. And the Kings with long-range shooting. And they have the early lead here from Oklahoma City.
And I'll be gone 500 miles.
And we welcome you back here to the Ford Center at Oklahoma City. Sacramento with the early lead, and we get you to the Cache Creek question of the game. It's brought to you by Cache Creek Casino and Resort, California's finest casino resort. Who are the 4 players to attend Oklahoma or Oklahoma State and also score 10,000 or more points in the NBA? We'll have that answered for you a little bit later.
That is a tough one.
Rick Adelman, his team with a slow start. We talked about the late arrival and the long wait before tip-off with all the pregame ceremonies. But I know you do, but what about the defense the Kings have played in the first 6+ minutes?
Well, you just got to love it. Rick Adelman has got to be thrilled with the effort he's seeing. Brad Miller, Sharif Abdur-Rahim really not only playing, coming up big, but playing very aggressive, rebounding the ball very well. Just definitely a team effort on the defensive end, and sooner or later it'll carry over to the offensive end as well. Kings a little bit out of sorts on the offensive end, but now starting to settle down and get into this game.
All right, Chris Anderson has checked in for the Hornets. Very athletic player.
Yeah, they call him the Bird because he can fly like a bird sometimes. I don't think it's because he eats like a bird.
Same 5 on the floor for Sacramento.
Again, Kings trying to post up Bonzi Wells against Speedy Claxton, able to get the ball inside there.
Whoa, look at Sharif climb the ladder.
Well, Sharif saw Chris Anderson had to leave to help on Bonzi as he went to the basket. That took him away from Sharif, and Sharif free to go throw it down with a nice effort.
6 points and 4 rebounds already for Abdur-Rahim. Nakbar with a 3.
Well, that's what Bastian Nakbar can do. Leave him open a little bit like Peja Stojakovic. You've got to make him put the ball on the floor.
So it's a 4-point lead for Sacramento. Stojakovic looking for his first points of this opening quarter. Out challenging Nakbar, the draw and kick to Miller. And Paul has it.
Kings definitely getting good shots every trip now, so that's an excellent sight as well.
Claxton, that time he was able to beat the Kings defense.
Well, able to face up Bonzi, certainly no question. Speedy Claxton is quicker and faster than Bonzi. Bonzi will have to give him a little more room out there.
Here's Peja teeing up a 3. And Sharif, that's his second foul. Gotta love the effort, but 2 loose ball fouls on Sharif Abdur-Rahim.
Well, watch Bonzi goes to the basket. You see Anderson leave Sharif, and then as he leaves Sharif to try to block the shot there, Sharif able to go aggressively to the offensive board and get the throw down. Unfortunately, gets that quick second foul, so that's why Kenny Thomas is so valuable. This team can play a couple positions, and certainly even as good as Sharif is playing, you're bringing in a quality player to take that spot.
All right, Anderson sets a screen for Claxton. Claxton, and he breaks down the Sacramento defense. He is so darn quick.
Well, he is a point guard playing 2 guards, so a very difficult matchup for Bonzi Wells. Like I say, we'll have to give him a little more room.
Oh, look at Brad Miller. And Miller put it in the book and sent him to the line. He was fouled by Anderson. Nice job by shielding the defender with the body, drawing the foul, and making the basket. And when we come back, Brad Miller with a chance for a 3-point play. We're in the first quarter. Sacramento with the lead.
Going back home to my baby, going back to New Orleans.
And we are back here at the Ford Center in Oklahoma City. And we have the answer to our Cache Creek question of the game. And Jerry, do you know that?
Well, I can think of 3, I think. Wayman Tisdale, Alvin Adams in Oklahoma, and John Starks, Oklahoma State, I think would be a 3rd, but I don't know if...
Well, Starks, Mookie Blaylock.
Mookie Blaylock. Oh, well.
Wayman Tisdale and Alvin Adams. Boy, and Wayman Tisdale singing or I shouldn't say singing, but performing the national anthem tonight with his bass guitar. And look at Tizzy there, 18.5 points, 7 rebounds, 51% floor.
Tell you what, Tizzy could go in that block and score on anybody. The Tizzy flip.
Yep. And there is Wayman sitting with Willis Reed on the left.
Well, that's a scoring combination for you. the great Willis Reed.
And a free throw missed.
Absolutely one of the great years of my life, getting to work with Willis as an assistant coach. Willis and I were assistant coaches together, and learned a lot from Willis.
Great guy, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Just a true. You can see why he's a great player, because he's just an absolutely hard worker and a class act.
And the Kings do not come up with a rebound. And who wants it? To the floor goes Miller, and he is effort. And finally, we have a kick called on Sacramento, so the ball will go to the Hornets. Also, Bill Walton was in that group with Wayman Tisdale and Willis Reed. 2:18 left here in the opening quarter, and the Kings holding on to a 2-point lead. Shooting just 36%.
Didn't see Walton in there. He might have got squished in there.
There he is, the big redhead.
On the big red. Oh, I see, on the side. If he got between them, that'd been a real sandwich there. But that's three pretty good hands right there.
So Hart in, Mike Bibby out with 2:18 left here in the first quarter.
Well, actually, you would have to have somebody pass those two guys.
Yes, you would. There's Claxton.
Well, Speedy Claxton just simply able to turn the corner, double screen set high.
Claxton has 6 points off the bench.
Well, he has really picked up this team as he's come into J.R. Smith.
Kenny Thomas to the open Jason Hart. Rebound Thomas. And a nice job to set up the offense. Peja. Yes, and Peja Stojakovic with his first basket.
Well, good to see Peja get on the board. Now all the main ingredients are on the board, but nice little step back shot set up by a good effort by Kenny Thomas on that second effort rebound.
19-17.
Jason Hart trying to get in front of Speedy Claxton, and did.
And Jason Hart draws the whistle there as he bumped Speedy Claxton.
And you see Peja a little step back over Nakbar, and that creates the space, able to get the hoop. But really, just as Claxton was about to lose the ball, Jason Hart created some contact.
There's Rasul Butler involved in the biggest trade in NBA history, the 5-team deal in the offseason.
Yeah, very good spot shooter. Played in Miami last year. Bonzi Wells playing the very quick Chris Paul.
And Butler ties the game.
Well, Rasul Butler, he came in shooting, and that's what he does. An excellent spot shooter. Played a pretty significant role for Miami on their 59-win team last year.
A minute left here in the opening quarter of opening night. Peja thought about the three, and he is fouled by Butler before the shot. And that's the first foul on Butler, and that will allow Kevin Martin to come in. And Bonzi Wells will exit. And tonight we'll learn a little bit more about Rick Adelman's rotation.
Well, one thing too is with Kevin, you know, you get a little more quickness on the floor. That matches up, even though those guards are still a little smaller and quicker. Certainly a little better matchup. Kevin is probably as athletic as anybody on the Kings roster, maybe the quickest guy on the roster.
While Peja was warming up this evening, I asked him about the arena. He said it's beautiful. He said it's NBA state-of-the-art. He says it's a good shooting background. He said he liked it. He was out here about 45 minutes before the game getting his shots in because, as we told you, the Kings did not have the opportunity to shoot around because they flew here today.
Well, you know, a good shooting background for Peja is an orange rim.
Yeah, 21-19. Now Anderson is open. Anderson, and the draw and kick near side. Claxton, a corner three. Boy, Speedy Claxton has ignited the Hornets, and they have the lead at 22-21. That's 9 for Claxton.
Yeah, and that time was very well defended. Jason Hart really challenged that shot.
Kings on a 2-for-1. They lose it. They get it right back.
Kenny Thomas really had a chance to hit Peja in the corner. Didn't see him.
Yeah, it was wide open, and now Thomas has to find the handle. Shot clock winding down. There's a block. Back the other way we go. And now the hold for one. Final seconds. Here's Paul, and no good. And that will do it for the first quarter. So the Kings had a 7-point lead, but the end of one, they trail by 1. And here on Comcast Sportsnet, the first quarter of opening night is in the books. And it's the Hornets with a 1-point lead. game in Tisdale, and Willis Reed 22-21. The Hornets by 1, and Sharif Abdul-Rahim, before he picked up that second foul, Jerry, very effective for the Kings.
Well, he was the most effective player for the Kings. Here, a hustle play, getting the shot at the basket. Now, great drive past Knockbar all the way to the hoop for the layup. A follow on a Bonzi miss for a throwdown. Unfortunately, got 2 quick fouls as well, but 3 of 4 from the floor in 9 minutes and 4 rebounds as well. So definitely a blow to get have Sharif get those 2 fouls, but he was extremely effective.
Let's talk in depth about that first quarter. Tell me, first of all, what you liked about Sacramento.
Well, I liked the defensive effort, no question. The effort was there. Certainly a lot of rotations. What I didn't like, offensively, Kings missed some easy shots and probably didn't move the ball as well as they need to.
And they squandered 2 what should be easy baskets in transition.
Yeah, two wide open, transition opportunities not to even get a shot or a good shot. So those are the kind of things that have to be cleaned up.
All right, let's set the lineups for you as Speedy Claxton stays in. Also, Desmond Mason, who was just traded from Milwaukee for McGlure, he's in with Rasul Butler, Chris Anderson, and David West.
Yeah, and he is a quick athlete as well, one of the more athletic guys in the league.
And look at that steal by Hart, and here he comes. He's got a trailer, and again, Jerry, the Kings don't do it correctly. They rush the opportunity.
Yeah, it's this case of like you don't have to make a play. You have the basketball, and just basically trying to make a play where none exists. So they got to settle down, take what the defense gives you, even in the open court.
That's the 4th Sacramento turnover.
Yeah, great effort by Jason Hart, squandered.
Claxton. And it's Miller finally coming down with it for Sacramento.
Speedy Claxton just came in here and taken over the game. I mean, the Kings really were comfortably ahead, and he comes in and become the best player on the floor.
Yeah, he has 9 points, 4 of 6 shooting. Here's Stojakovic. Off balance, doesn't matter. And Peja now has 6.
Well, Peja with a nice ball fake that time, just froze the defender and able to fade back. So Peja has a sweet stroke going.
And that's an offensive foul, and it's called on David West.
Now watch Peja as he comes off this screen. He really can't free up, so he just stays there, and a little ball fake, and that's all it takes, gets the defender to stay on the ground, and then Peja is able to fade away.
Stojakovic has 6. Brian Skinner has checked in for Brad Miller. Miller sits with 4 points, 2 rebounds, but very good defense while he was on the floor.
But right now with Kenny Thomas and Brian Skinner, really the most athletic big guys.
And there's Stojakovic just short. Rebound Skinner, but he's going to get called for over the back.
Well, Brian coming in very aggressive, but easy call to make. Right over the top of Chris Anderson.
Well, they were both, Thomas and Skinner were both going for that ball. And now Jess Kersey said it was Kenny Thomas who picked up the foul. But nevertheless, it's New Orleans basketball, and Sacramento will go back on defense, leading by a point. Butler a 3. Long rebound. Mason. Blocked by Skinner. And another great job by Skinner.
Brian Skinner putting on his Bill Russell mask here.
And here's Skinner on the offense. Banks it home.
Well, that's not Bill Russell-like, because Bill couldn't hit the shots outside, but Brian Skinner swatting it away on one end and stroking a jumper on the other. But we've said all along, I mean, Brian was the most consistent King probably all through preseason.
There's West. And West is shooting the ball very well, at least from that spot on the floor. 2 jumpers from the baseline. And right now, it's a 1-point Sacramento lead.
Yeah, you can't really give David West a 12-foot shot, or probably any pro player an open 12-footer consistently.
Here's Kenny Thomas. He loves that spot on the floor, but that one is too strong. And the rebound, Butler. And now the Hornets can take the lead. And Martin with a steal. Let's see if the Kings can get the job done on this trip in transition. And no, they don't. They turn it over again.
Well, again, there's just really nowhere to go. No spacing. Watch the great block by Brian Skinner, even an offensive foul, maybe not called on Desmond Mason. Now Skinner on the other end uses the glass with a sweet kiss for the 15-foot jump shot.
Jerry, when you think of the Kings, you think of a team that can finish in transition. That's 4 opportunities, and right now Sacramento is 0 for 4.
You know, actually, honestly, in preseason they were the worst fast break team in the league. So that has been an area that's a major concern. Is simply not getting in the open court and finishing.
And a travel call. They said that Garcia did not have possession as he had just checked in. Well, Sacramento has turned it over 6 times, and 4 of those have been in the open court when they had situations to score.
Well, or in a couple cases maybe they didn't have, but they should have backed it out. I mean, you've got to get scoring opportunities. You just can't force the action, and that's what we're seeing.
What do you attribute the low number of fast break points in the preseason?
Well, I don't think the team has ever rebounded and got the ball out very well, number one. And then, of course, poor decision-making in the open court. That's the other part of it.
8:40 left.
But it is the team you would think would score a lot in fast break points, but they simply haven't.
And Skinner, nope. He tried up and under. And it stays 25-24. Sacramento shooting at just 34%.
Well, very fortunate to be right where they are with that kind of shooting, doing it on the defensive end with a great effort. Francisco Garcia staying with the very athletic Desmond Mason.
At least he did for a few seconds.
But Speedy Claxton is just simply having his way with everybody on the floor. He has gotten to the basket, seems like every time he wants to.
26-25. Claxton has 11. Seesaw first half. Martin. And the rebound taken by the Hornets. Claxton. And into the hands of Kenny Thomas.
Well, Claxton's proving he's at least human here in the first half.
Skinner, and that's going the other way, an offensive foul.
Well, Bryant had a great chance for the half hook. Didn't take it, and created the contact.
And the Kings having a turnover problem here in the first half. That's their 8th. Well, back here opening night at Oklahoma City. It's a 1-point game. Grant Napier along with Jerry Reynolds. And boy, a lot of good games to start off opening night. In the West, you've got Denver and San Antonio. I know in the East, you got Miami with a new look.
Well, yeah, Miami really has changed their team. It's kind of surprising when you think about it. I mean, this is a team that won 59 games last year, really came within a game of going to the NBA Finals.
And then they retooled.
And they really retooled, so it's going to be interesting to see if that's really a good move or not. Certainly bringing Jason Williams, Antoine Walker in, James Posey, very different kind of team, so it's a little risky, but it does seem like, though, I mean, when you look at the East with Miami, Indiana, Detroit, I mean, there may be a little more power in the East than there is even in the West this year. So things have changed, but Miami, that'll bear watching because certainly if that experiment doesn't work out, well, you know who's going to bear the brunt? The old coach will. But, you know, that was a team that was probably an injury from Dwayne Wade away from being in the finals as it was. So,
are you speaking from experience when you say that?
Well, I think everybody knows how it works in the NBA.
It's no different than in the other sports as well. You're right. But right now, Sacramento trying to be one of those elite teams. And first thing they need to start doing is taking better care of the basketball.
Yeah, very surprising. Have really unforced turnovers. Not scoring with the easy opportunities that they have been given, but the effort's great, and certainly right there, even shooting poorly and not taking care of the basketball. But Rick Adelman knows that can't continue for his team to win this ballgame tonight.
Here's the barometer when you're talking about the success or lack thereof with Sacramento. They have 4 assists and 7 turnovers.
Yeah, that is in Kings basketball. And of course, Speedy Claxton just continuing to ring up points and dominate the game.
28-25. Seven minutes left here in the half. Garcia. And that shot is blocked. And a breakout, Smith.
Well, Francisco Garcia probably got a little ahead of himself trying to make a play that wasn't there. And when you force the action, bad things happen. That's what happening to the Kings right now, just not letting the game come to them.
Well, Rick Adelman's seeing the obvious, and that is that this combination is not working right now, so he's going to go and put his starters back in. Garcia, nope, that's well off the mark. And it's a 5-point lead for the Hornets.
Yeah, this unit's definitely been outplayed by the Hornets, especially, of course, Speedy Claxton.
Smith, little out of control. P.J. Brown is on the block.
But the quickness of J.R. Smith does create the scoring opportunity for P.J. Brown. Rick Allen not happy at all with what he's seeing from his unit on the floor.
And a 10-0 run, and Rick Allen stops it. A 32-25 lead for the Hornets. J.R. Smith, his only basket of this half, but the Hornets with their biggest lead. Well, New Orleans with a 32-25 lead, and Jerry, it really changed when Byron Scott put Speedy Claxton into the game.
It certainly did. It's been the Speedy Claxton show ever since. The quickness of Speedy to the basket, slashing off the dribble to the hoop. A little fadeaway that time when he gets in the paint. Another drive to the hoop. Another drive to the hoop. Speedy Claxton on a consistent basis, getting in the paint, getting to the basket. He has been the guy that's turned the game around, 13 points in limited minutes. So the Kings have got to find a way to keep Speedy out of that paint area because he has been dominating this game.
All right, the Kings will have a lineup now of Mike Bibby and Bonzi Wells, Brian Skinner, Francisco Garcia, and Sharif Abdur-Rahim.
Number 3, Chris Paul, and number 4, Jackson Froman.
Jackson Froman in for the Hornets. He's with Chris Paul, P.J. Brown, J.R. Smith, and Desmond Mason. And a foul called on J.R. Smith.
Well, at least Claxton's not in the game now, so hopefully Kings won't have to worry about him for a minute or two. There he is, getting a rest.
It's the first team foul on New Orleans.
Speedy's a very good player and has been in the league, but primarily he's not Isaiah Thomas, as we see Sharif Abdur-Rahim with a nice move to the basket. Doesn't get the call or the finish.
Awfully close to a charge. Sharif playing with 2 fouls. Sacramento shooting just 10 of 31, along with 7 turnovers. Tough matchup for Francisco on the veteran Desmond Mason. Blocked again by Skinner. Wow.
Well, Brian Skinner has saved a couple of baskets already with that quick up.
And Skinner fouled. Nice setup by Bonzi Wells. And Skinner to the line.
Excellent little drop-off pass, but we see the great block from Brian Skinner. You see Mason inside and would have had a layup, but Brian Skinner takes it off and erases it. Brian Skinner has certainly did his job.
Now that's 2 sure baskets that he saved. Let's see how he does at the line. That's well strong. Going to tell you the Feather Falls Casino Fight Night at Arco Arena, returning Thursday, November 17th. You can see Sacramento's top-ranked boxer, Eric the Hitman Reagan. He defends his IBA Continental Middleweight title in the main event. Tickets on sale now through Ticketmaster or at the Arco Arena box office. And the rebound taken by Mason, so it stays 32-25.
The Kings have got to find a way to get some offense.
And a foul called on Bonzi Wells.
Well, Pages, Storakovich, Brad Miller getting ready to check back in.
Second foul on Bonzi. Garcia and Skinner check out. And so the starting 5 back in for the final 5 minutes in the second.
Skinner certainly had a solid stint in his relief effort.
And now Roman, 2 on the shot clock to P.J. Brown. And it's a 9-point lead.
The Kings have got to find a way to get on the board. The offense has just totally stagnated. Obviously, Rick, when he went to the bench, just did not get any offense.
There's some offense behind a Sharif screen. Bonzi Wells now with 6.
And just exactly what the team needed. Bonzi Wells comes right back with a big hoop. Needs some stops and some consistent play on the offensive end.
Now the shot clock at 10. Nice drop off, and Brad Miller fouls P.J. Brown. First foul on Brad Miller.
Now watch Bonzi Wells is taking a screen from Sharif, catching, going over the top of J.R. Smith. Bonzi with a little confidence in that jump shot. Now a little drop-off pass from J.R. finds P.J. Brown going to the basket. Brad Miller has to go over the top to save the sure hoop.
Well, Bonzi breaks a 5-minute and 15-second drought, and at the other end, P.J. Brown makes the free throw. That foul on the Kings was their third team foul.
Well, the Hornets really aren't doing a lot offensively except just spreading the floor and getting some penetration and playing out of it. But they're getting certainly some easier shots than are the Kings the last 3 or 4 minutes.
36-27. Peja now finds Bibby for an open three. Good look by Mike Bibby, but it was just well off target.
Yeah, that was good. That was good offense and good ball movement. That's the kind of shot that Mike Bibby is going to make a high percentage of, as in past years.
Here's Knockbar, a corner three. Rebound Miller. Peja was wide open, but the Kings didn't see him, and now they turn it over. That is another turnover for the Kings here in the first half. They're 8th.
Well, just totally an unforced turnover. Mike, I think, trying to run before he got the ball, and then the ball was a little behind him as well.
Kings looking very sluggish, and not to make excuses, you got to wonder if it's the long day of travel or what, but they have not looked good here in the first half offensively.
Not looked sharp at all offensively, with the exception of Sharif, the only player that really has Bonzi to some degree. P.J. Brown just making spot shot after spot shot. Brad really has to go out and make him put the ball on the floor, really not known for his ability to drive the ball to the basket.
An 11-point lead, the biggest of the game. Bonzi Wells posting. Nope, missed it badly. Bonzi gets in there, though, to scoot it free. And look at Abdur-Rahim. Now, that's effort, ladies and gentlemen. That is big-time effort.
Well, Bonzi Wells and Sharif Abdur-Rahim, the two new guys, are certainly doing their part. A lot of extra effort and hustle.
And so it results in a Kings possession.
Now watch Sharif just diving, laying out there, knocking the ball loose off of Chris Paul. So that's just a great hustle play.
Bibby and Stojakovic a three. And that's what effort does. An extra possession and 3 points.
And couldn't have came at a better time. Exactly right. Sharif Abdur-Rahim didn't hesitate, dove for the ball, kept it in play for the Kings, and Peja makes them pay with a three-pointer.
And not just any three-pointer, his 1,000th of his career. 10 on the shot clock. Stolen by Bibby. He's got Peja running with him. And put that in the book and send them to the line. Oh, boy. Mike Bibby. And the Kings with a chance to score 6 straight points. That was a thing of beauty. Well, Stojakovic with a milestone. 1,000 from beyond the line. And the Kings right back in it.
Come on, Oklahoma, borderline.
Well, we'll be with you tomorrow on News 10 as the Kings will travel to the Lone Star State, Jerry, and we'll get it underway at 5:30. Tracy McGrady's been bothered by some tendonitis, but boy, the Houston Rockets also a team that's going to be right there in the thick of things in the West.
Absolutely are, and boy, Mike Bibby has just really came up big here in a couple straight possessions. Steps in the passing lane, excellent team defense here, forcing the basketball to the hoop, takes the contact, uses the strength, able to finish. Watch that beautiful anticipation. Mike sees the defender out ahead, knows he's got to go get the contact, takes it, and able to finish the play. That's a big-time play by a big-time point guard.
And Bibby now has 6, and the Kings score 6 straight. And it's now 38-33 with 2.5 left here in the second quarter. Amazing what happens when you get the effort of guys diving on the floor.
Well, Sharif, I think exactly right. That was such a big turnaround kind of play. And now maybe all the purple shirts involved.
Here they come. Another fast break. The no-look to Bonzi Wells, and he missed it. He thought he was fouled, no whistle. And the Kings need to get back on defense.
Well, Bonzi thought he was fouled. Rick Adelman thought he was fouled. I thought he was fouled.
That's another missed opportunity in transition.
2 minutes remaining in the first half. 2 minutes.
P.J. Brown. Blocked. Miller got him, and now Paul with 5 to shoot. This is from way downtown. Well,
Chris Paul, the rookie out of Wake Forest, can make that shot. Hornets a little lucky, looked like a got by with the travel, but Kings just have to keep their focus. Momentum starting to go their way. Don't let it turn.
And Bibby was fouled by Paul. There was no whistle. I mean, how can you not call that? And Bibby sets up, and that's going to be called on Bibby. And right now, the Kings are getting burned by some very bad officiating.
Now watch as the ball's kicked out to Chris Paul, wide open because everybody went at the ball inside, and Chris Paul, the rookie, will make that shot and did. But boy, some very curious no calls that certainly have hurt the Kings a couple straight possessions.
That was terrible.
I mean, Mike Bibby just knocked sideways, no call, and Mike very frustrated. Got to keep his cool here, but he's exactly right. I mean, you can't attack a dribbler like that.
41-33. 10 on the 24. And a foul. Sacramento picking up the foul, and it's on Brad Miller, it looks like. Beg your pardon, it's on Bonzi Wells. Second foul on Bonzi. J.R. Smith to the line.
And that was a bailout call if there ever was one, too, because J.R. is out of control and a little extra hop and throws up trash and gets the call. So
actually, they've switched that to the third foul for Bonzi Wells, and so he will exit, and Kevin Martin will come in for the final minute 10.
Mike Bibby talking to the veteran Jess Kersey, and certainly Jess, one of the better officials in this league, needs to maybe get more involved in this game, I think.
Look at that, bench points, 16. Of course, Speedy Claxton has 13 of those. 42-33. Bibby a long two. Nope. And here come the Hornets. Paul to knock ball.
Well, you see the amazing speed of Chris Paul pushing the basketball, just exploding to the hoop with a little kick off the knock bar. So things going the way of the Hornets.
44-33. Kevin Martin, and in and out. And again, here comes New Orleans, and it will be Kings ball.
But you see the ability of Paul just to push the basketball, this time right inside, able to get the finish at the hoop. Again, Chris Paul just exploding to the hoop. You can see the kind of pressure he puts on the defense, just outrunning people coast to coast.
Stojakovic, nope. And Kevin Martin, nice job to keep it alive. Pazier, good patience, and he missed it. Down to 12 seconds. Coase and Kara at the half here on Comcast Sportsnet as the fans rise. They enjoy what they're seeing here in the first half. Roaming. Nope. But a good first half for the home team, and not so for the Kings. They turn it over 9 times. They shoot 31%. And with one half of basketball in the books, the Hornets lead at 44-33.
Solid numbers. He's one of the few as this second half gets going.
All right, J.R. Smith and Chris Paul, the youngest backcourt in NBA history in this modern day era, which they officially started in 1970, 40 years, 7 months of age. And here's West, and he kicks out to Paul. Shot clock now at 4. Bibby gets on him with 2. This is from 28 feet. And it comes into the hands of Stojakovic. It's Bibby, Wells with Abdul Rahim, Stojakovic, and Miller, Jerry.
Boy, a nice defensive effort. Mike Bibby stayed in front of Chris Paul, made him take a tough challenge shot. So Kings just need to get some points here early. This momentum can be turned around very quickly. Start off good here in the third.
Abdul Rahim, a very effective first half. Now he's doubled, losing it, gets it to Stojakovic for a 3. Yes, he beats the shot clock, and the Kings open up with a triple.
And Sharif shook his head like, oh, I'm lucky to get bailed out there, and he's exactly right. Kind of lost control of the ball, but found the man in the corner, Peja Stojakovic. So Page has got his game going.
And J.R. Smith answers with a 2. Sacramento was outscored in that second quarter, 22-12. And right now it's a 10-point game. Abdul Rahim with a nice ball fake, and boy, did he blow by David West.
Well, just a great up fake. Got David West running at him. He thought he was going to take the outside shot, and Sharif isn't as fast as some guys, but very smart, has all the moves, and boy, just a great up fake to create that shot.
Nakbar forced that. Good defense by the Kings, and Sharif Abdur-Rahim didn't have to grab it because it was out of bounds to Sacramento.
Watch as Sharif is just able to get the ball to Peja in the nick of time, and Peja delivers a long 3 ball.
Let's see if the Kings can chop the lead some more.
Well, they have some advantages here. Peja Stojakovic, Sharif Abdur-Rahim. They know they can go to those guys for points.
And that time, Abdur-Rahim had a shot blocked.
Yeah, David West, perfect timing on that. A little bit surprising.
And Smith in and out. And it's off of the Hornets, says Jess Kersey.
Well, you see Sharif as he just a little up fake, gets by David West and throws it down. Kings definitely momentum going Kings' way, must keep it that way.
And a bad pass, turnover. That's the 10th Sacramento turnover. We talk about spacing, and that time you could see the spacing was awful. Here's a 3.
Well, J.R. Smith, he's one of those guys that can get on a tear. We saw it last year as a rookie. Really came up big in the second half against the Kings and had 20-some points to lead the Hornets to a win.
And a flat shot back the other way. Chris Paul layup, and it's 51-38.
Well, again, you see Chris Paul, what he can do just with his great leg speed and quickness in the open court, can always outrun at least 1 or 2 guys on the floor to create numbers.
Biggest lead of the game for the Hornets. And a loose ball foul, and the Kings will get the ball as Bonzi Wells was held by J.R. Smith.
Now watch Chris Paul, just a little changeover, just explodes to the basket. I think he really surprises people with his quickness, but one of the quickest guys in this league. I think a lot of teams, he was the 4th pick, but boy, he could very well have been the 1st. Got a little Isaiah Thomas in that young man.
Bonzi Wells, the catch and shoot. Nope. And the Hornets have it. 51-38 here in the 3rd quarter. And Abdur-Rahim with the rebound as that shot forced by Smith.
J.R. Smith did not have anything going, but Peja stayed in front of him.
And Bibby got bailed out a little bit there as he tried to go into a crowd. West on the foul.
Exactly right. I think Mike didn't quite realize where he was on the floor. Nothing but white shirts around. I don't know what he could have got out of that.
Jerry, the one term I would use watching this offense here in the first 2 quarters plus, lack of patience.
Yeah, and just frenetic. You know, just like you got to do something within 2 seconds, you know, as opposed to just, take what the defense gives you a little bit.
3-on-1. Pass to Shouts, Bibby with the foul. And the Kings are in some trouble here in the 3rd quarter. Timeout, Sacramento, as the New Orleans Hornets lead at 53-38 in the opening game of the 2005 season.
My baby going back to New Orleans.
Well, we've been talking a lot about the young backcourt of the Hornets with, of course, Chris Paul and J.R. Smith, both 20 years of age. Byron Scott, though, likes what he sees from those 2 youngsters.
Yeah, very young backcourt, but, I got a lot of faith in both those guys, J.R. Smith and Chris Paul. They got a terrific bond together between them. Really seem to really enjoy being around each other and playing with each other. And I'm just looking for those guys to continue to grow as a basketball players, and we grow as a basketball team.
Now, so far, so good here in the first 2 quarters and 4 minutes. The Hornets with a lead, 53-38. Both these teams will head to the airport after the game. The Hornets and Chris Paul on the attack, heading to Cleveland. Sacramento on their way to Houston. You see J.R. Smith fouled there by Mike Bibby.
Well, this backcourt's growing before our eyes. Not just young. I mean, they're very talented and young. That's the most important thing. Being young doesn't mean much if you don't really have the tools, but they do. And Byron Scott, I think there's a little bit. He sees a little bit of himself in J.R. Smith with the great athleticism and ability to make long shots.
Jerry, I know it's still 8 minutes and 20 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. I think the Kings need to be very careful here to not get behind any farther, particularly with how stagnant their offense has been.
Oh, absolutely. They have got to start chipping away now. I mean, they're in the third quarter. You're on the road. I mean, this is one of those things you can certainly come from behind a little easier at home.
And it will be Kings ball, but only 2 on the shot clock.
And again, Kings really not able to get into their offense at all.
Kings shooting 31%. Peja, this a 3. And the rebound taken by the Hornets. Here they come. And it's Smith and Miller with the foul. And they're going to call it a flagrant foul. I think the flagrant, as Jess Kersey pointed towards the side, as Brad Miller got him in the face. I don't think it was intentional.
We'll see as Brad goes for it.
Oh boy, yeah, I can see why.
Yeah, he really popped him in the face. I think he was going for the ball. As you said, he was knocked off balance,
yep.
but he did hit him right in the face. I think you'll see the defender behind him knocks Brad off balance, and that's why.
That's a good call.
But it's certainly the correct call.
Well, J.R. Smith, they're going to get the shot, and then they'll get the ball on the side. Actually, he was fouled in the act of shooting. You get 2 in the ball. But, you know, again, you can't fault the call there by Jess Kersey.
Yeah, it looked like the correct call. I mean, certainly, I don't think Brad, it was intentional, but that's not the. It was a case where he was kind of pushed a little bit from behind. He intended to go for the basketball, couldn't quite elevate quite high enough, but at the end of the day, he did smack him right in the face. And that's what Brad's trying to say.
Well, in any event, it's 56-38. And to make matters worse, the Hornets are going to inbound the ball. Well, it's opening night here in Oklahoma City. The fans have been waiting. They have been gathering outside this Ford Center for several hours, and they have been thoroughly entertained by their home team based on the first 2 quarters and 4 minutes.
Yeah, they're seeing their team play very well and play like a veteran team.
And that's going to be called against West for an illegal screen. That's the 4th foul on David West.
Yeah, Chris Paul is almost so quick it creates a problem for his screeners that he is by him before they can get set.
A 10-0 run for the Hornets. And a steal. And here's Smith. This is where he's at his best.
Well, J.R. Smith just flying the friendly skies, exploding out of there, knocked the ball loose from Bonzi. Kings trying to take advantage of a mismatch underneath, not able to get the ball inside.
Baby, there's Peja inside the circle. Nope. And Abdur-Rahim will try to put it right back and does so. That stops the bleeding for a moment.
But the Hornets really pushing the basketball, getting it right back in play.
58-40. Knockbar, and he drops it off for T.J. Brown.
Well, you see the great spacing of the Hornets. They're doing exactly what the Kings wish they could do or should do, because great spacing, then penetration ends up in easier shots. You see the Kings really not getting the same type of shots, being a little bit more hurried in what they're trying to do.
Sacramento shooting just 30%. And Brad Miller, he got hit in the face by David West. Wow. And that will result in a jump ball.
Seeing a little scrum here as the ball's knocked loose. It's on the floor. You see Brad going for it, gets on top of the basketball, gets hit.
Jeez, why isn't that a foul?
Hit in the face with an elbow from West.
Well, I don't blame Brad Miller for being a little peeved on that one. 6:26 left in the third quarter, and it is all Hornets.
Yeah, just at the time, right at the start of the third quarter, looked like the Kings were going to get back in the game quickly, and then an explosion from the Hornets to jump out with their outstanding young guards, both Smith and Chris Paul, making play after play.
Oh, Wells, he and J.R. Smith pushing each other at the circle, and Jess Kersey comes in and steps between the two.
Probably a good no call there. Both guys tangled up.
And the Kings win the tip. 6:20 left in the third. Miller pushed down Paul, no whistle. Here Sharif. Rebound West, and it's one shot and out again for the Kings, and the Kings being out rebounded, Jerry, 36-22.
Yeah, it's just total domination on the board, which unfortunately leads to runouts like we've seen, which is creating the margin.
Rebound Bonzi. And Bibby is fouled and smartly throws the ball up. And that will allow Chris Anderson to come in. Non-shooting is going to be, Kings are going to inbound on the side. That is the third team foul on the Hornets. So we are halfway through the third, and the Kings shooting 30% in a hole. And they turn it over.
Just absolutely no timing. Really, Peja was open on that nice screen from Brad Miller, and Brad not able to deliver the ball. So this is one of those things right now where routine plays aren't routine.
That's the 12th turnover for Sacramento, and they only have 6 assists. Butler, a 3. And Abdul-Rahim, nice job again to keep it alive. He's been the Kings' best player tonight.
Well, no doubt about that. He's been active and doing a lot of good things.
Kings got lucky there. Stojakovic. And a left-hand flip.
A good change of the hand by Peja, because P.J. Brown would have blocked that had he went up to the right hand.
60-42.
But Kings need some stops. Not only do they need offense, they've definitely got to get some stops and get this Hornet team slowed down.
And they foul there. Fouls on Brad Miller. Third foul on Miller. And the Kings pick up another team foul. That's the third team foul with 4:52 left in the quarter. Well, things don't get any easier tomorrow night. Yao Ming, Tracy McGrady and company waiting for the Kings.
No, they get a lot harder, in fact.
Wow. Boy, did Anderson set a screen on Bibby. And Paul, he gets to the foul line. Rick Adelman telling Derek Stafford that was a moving screen out front. And Bibby has a couple of words for the official as well.
Chris Paul able to get the college who penetrates the ball to the basket, able to take advantage of that screen.
Fourth foul on Brad. Fourth team foul. And now Brian Skinner will come in.
Brad very frustrated. He's not been effective tonight.
Yeah, Brad with 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists in 25 minutes.
CP3 will shoot 2.
And the lead is now back to 20. New Orleans has outscored the Kings 16-4 in the last 6 minutes. And the Kings just not shooting the ball at all tonight.
Bonzi Wells, a great effort, but not able to finish. As you said, Kings, even with the easy shots, not making them.
And a miss by Smith, rebounded by Bibby. Offensive foul, and again Sacramento showing no patience with the basketball, and they turn it over for the 13th time.
Yeah, when you're down 20, you've really got, it may sound strange, but you need more patience, because you're not going to make up 20 points in a couple of trips. You see Bonzi Wells trying to go inside. You see Anderson definitely planted there.
That's the 4th foul on Bonzi Wells. And P.J. Brown, 64-42.
Well, P.J. Brown, Chris Paul really hooking up with a nice little pick and roll, and Paul finds P.J. for a short 7-footer. So everything that the Hornets want to do, they're executing perfect.
And Sharif Abdul-Rahim has 12 points.
Well, Sharif's doing what he can to get his team back in this game.
Boy, I'll tell you, the Kings get beat again. Chris Paul pushing the tempo and Kings right now looking like a team that spent half the day on an airplane, and I'm not trying to use that as an excuse. I'm just pointing out it's a reality. Very difficult trip here to Oklahoma City. On the airplane yesterday for a total of 4 hours without going anywhere, and then today leaving the arena at 6:30 in the morning, coming into Oklahoma City, arriving here shortly before 1 o'clock. And you know, I'm not saying that the Hornets aren't playing well, but the Kings right now, they just look lethargic. They look sluggish. They look like a team that's been playing 5 games consecutively.
Well, I think the most disappointing thing, they look like a team that hasn't played together. And you've got a lot of veteran players out there. So, but it's also true the Hornets are playing very well.
Yes, they are. No, there's no question about it.
They simply are playing well, and these young guards are playing like they're the veterans.
And Abdul-Rahim went for the throwdown. And it was a whistle, and it will be a foul called on New Orleans. Well, I'll tell you one thing, Sharif Abdul-Rahim's been a bright spot. He's got 12 points, 7 rebounds.
Well, he seems to just be working harder and harder. I mean, there's things that went bad for his team. It hadn't affected his game or effort at all. He's stepping up and trying to do what he's supposed to do.
Bibby, top of the key jumper. And that's the third basket for Mike Bibby.
And that's a nice patient kind of offense. But you see the explosion of Paul that time. He loses it out of bounds. Maybe too quick for his own good there. I think he just exploded out of his shoes almost. But he puts pressure on the defense every time he touches just because he's trying to drive it right to the basket.
Here's a 3 by Peja. Rebound Smith. And Peja now is 5 of 14.
The Kings just can't hit 2 shots in a row.
No, they can't.
P.J. Brown certainly can. P.J. has been on track all night long.
18 for P.J. Brown. And he also has 10 rebounds. And that's what he is. He's double-double guy.
You know, he's just one of those double-double guys. And people say he's a little small for center. He's never played much center, but he actually may be better at that position.
Skinner lost it. Stojakovic, look what I found. They'll get to the foul line, and that gets us to a timeout. Well, it has not been a good third quarter. The Kings were down 44. Well, the last time the Kings played the Hornets on the road was January 8th in New Orleans, and it was really an exciting game. Mike Bibby would hit this shot with just seconds remaining to force the game into overtime. Kings made the comeback, and unfortunately, J.R. Smith and company would make more big shots down the stretch. Sacramento had a chance in overtime. There's good ball movement. Brad Miller here. But Baron Davis had a triple-double. And when it was all said and done, New Orleans had a 121-117 victory in OT.
Yeah, that game, Baron Davis, the first half was just totally ineffective. And then it came out in the second half.
He woke up
and just dominated the game. Got J.R. Smith involved as well. But boy, that was just an amazing performance by Baron.
Jerry, New Orleans playing at a different speed than the Kings tonight. Would you agree?
Oh, they're just up and down the floor so much quicker. I mean, certainly they're a faster, quicker team anyway. But the fact that the Kings can't make shots, and of course that leads to a lot of rebounds and the chances to run out. And of course, you're seeing a team that can really run out.
Stojakovic now has 16. And it's 68-48. Final minutes, third quarter with 2:15 left. 10 on the shot clock. Good defense there. But it ends up in the hands of Butler. And Abdul-Rahim boxing out on Chris Anderson for his 8th board.
Well, that was one of the better defensive sequences by the Kings. Certainly so much different when the Kings are able to score the ball and make the Hornets play some half-court offense, because they haven't been able to do that very much. We say that so often that people just don't realize how easy it is to score in transition. For most teams to score in transition. Maybe it hadn't been easy for the Kings.
Well, that was a nice entry pass from Bibby to Stojakovic, and Peja 4 of 4 from the line. We'll get 2 more. Kings have shot 7 of 10 from the stripe, trying to somehow get back into this game. Plenty of time left. I want to tell you that for you serious Kings fans, you need serious Kings coverage, the kind you find every day in the Sacramento Bee. Call 1-800-2-THE-BEE today, and you can save 44% on daily home delivery. The Sacramento Bee, sports coverage as passionate as you are.
Well, the Kings really just got to get this thing to around 15 going in the last quarter to have any kind of a serious chance.
68-50. Hornets led after one, 22-21. They led at half, 44-33, and they lead now 68-50. Bonzi knocked it away, 6 to shoot. That's just athleticism.
Yeah, a totally broken play. Really, the Hornets had nothing going at all. J.R. Smith, as you said, just simply one-on-one made something happen.
Sharif now from the outside. And Sharif Abdur-Rahim has 14.
Well, Sharif and Peja starting to get their offensive games going, but it's at the stage now where you've got to stop the other guys, and we're seeing some good defensive sequences on this end, but that last shot by J.R. Smith, just simply a great one-on-one effort.
70-52, Anderson. And Bibby with the rebound. So the Kings now trying to chop the lead some more. Nope, that's well off to the left. And Mike Bibby's 3 of 11. Sacramento shooting 32%. DJ Brown, he's shooting close to 100%.
I mean, he is just automatic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every ball looks like it's going in, and just about all have.
He's got 20 points. He's only missed 3 shots all night. He's shooting a very impressive 9 of 12.
It doesn't seem like he's taking a tough shot all night.
And the fans on their feet. Final shot of the third. Gonna have to hurry. No, he didn't get it off in time.
No shot. We have a shot clock violation against the Kings.
And it's 1.2 seconds left for New Orleans.
The game clock has been reset to 1.2 seconds.
And I would say a quick 1.2, and it's all over here in the third. 12 minutes of basketball left for Sacramento to try to climb out of a huge hole. 72-52. In Oklahoma City. They've really done a marvelous job with this downtown area, this brand new building, the Ford Center. And, as you look at the fans respond, there's nothing good that really comes out of Hurricane Katrina. And we can't put ourselves in the shoes of the people that live in the Gulf Coast. But I have never, and I'm sure, Jerry, you can ask any member of the Hornets, they have never played in front of a hometown crowd like they're responding tonight.
No, they haven't. They haven't. And this town has just fallen in love with this team. And as you said, this downtown's been rebuilt along the great looking AAA field downtown as well. The convention center, big, huge convention center. Just a beautiful revival downtown here. And
a travel. Let's set the lineup. Jason Hart, Kevin Martin with Skinner, Stojakovic, and Abdur-Rahim. 72-52.
The Kings really just looking for something to get the momentum going. And of course, the crowd really.
Everybody on their feet here. And rebound, Rasul Butler. Nobody sitting down here at the start of the fourth.
And the players feeding off that energy. Speedy Claxton back in the game after just dominating in the second quarter.
And Mason foul. Very reminiscent, Jerry, of what you experienced 20 years ago when the Kings opened up at the old Arco Arena.
Yeah, exactly. Just so remarkable in similarity. You can just feel the energy and the effort. The fans and it's transcended, I think, on the court. I mean, as you said, these players not used to playing in front of enthusiastic fans like this, and boy, it's picked up their games.
Not all the games will be played here. They are going to play some of the games in Baton Rouge. As a matter of fact, the next time the Kings play the Hornets on the road, it will be in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. There were some conflicting dates with the arena here in Oklahoma City. They also play minor league hockey here, among other things. And So the Hornets will be playing some games in Baton Rouge. And it's 73-52.
Desmond Mason has not really been a factor, which is surprising. You know, he's an excellent player, but everybody else they have been.
Of course, he's only had a couple of days to practice with his teammates.
Yeah, so it's sure Byron will be able to fit him in.
Martin, 3 to shoot. Gonna have to hurry. Hart. And it's Anderson. Rebound.
Well, very good defense by the Hornets. Kings couldn't get anything. Barely lucky to get a shot off. And of course, each possession, whether it's Chris Paul or Speedy Claxton, those quick guards just pushing the pace.
There's Mason. Finds West on the baseline. Blocked by Skinner again. Brian Skinner with his 3rd block of this game.
Well, Brian Skinner in his stint off the bench, as we said, he's really did his job. And watch this outstanding timing by Skinner. Knows the clock's running down, goes over and gets David West and gets a shot midair.
Perfect form to block that shot. Pacers not shot the ball well. 5 of 14 and another unforced turnover. That's the 15th turnover.
Well, just some of the unbelievable kind, which that was, you know, a pass, you know, basically just through the legs. Just seems like there's no timing at all, no spacing.
I will say this is only one game of 82, and I hope that the travel situation is largely responsible for this. If not, the Kings, they got a lot of work to do.
Well, there's no doubt it's had an effect. I don't think there's any doubt it's had an effect. I don't think anyone in purple would lay the 20 points to all of that to the travel. You certainly can lay some of it there.
73-52.
Really, it's been a case of a love affair of a home team with home crowd with their team. They've just come out with an amazing energy and kept it going.
Benny Thomas in and out. Skinner rebound. Boy, look at the work by Skinner.
Brian Skinner, I mean, he is playing big.
73-54.
Well, the reserves have just got to find a way to be more productive. That certainly first half, just absolutely, other than Skinner, just didn't get anything done.
And it's off the foot, out of bounds to Sacramento. Chris Paul turned it over. That is the 18th turnover. Normally when you have a team that's committed 18 turnovers with 9 minutes left in the game, you'd be feeling pretty good, but that's not the case tonight. Sacramento has turned it over 15 times themselves, and they only have 10 assists.
Boy, Kenny Thomas, those are shots that, you know, he can make in his sleep, and he has not been able to get one to go down.
Well, sleep is something the Kings haven't had a lot of the last 24 hours. Here's 8:40 on the clock. Claxton, Rasul Butler, a 3. Rebound taken by Kenny Thomas.
A great effort by Kenny. Quick off his feet. One of the better rebounders for his size.
Too bad the Kings have missed shots because New Orleans has opened the door a little bit for him here in the 4th quarter.
Really have.
There's Jason Hart. Lost it. Butler. Rebound Thomas. Back the other way we go. Looking for an outlet and finds Hart numbers. He's got a path to the basket. He's fouled by Anderson. And a couple of free throws upcoming. Timeout. 8:09 left. We're in the 4th. And the Hornets lead by 19. 73-54 New Orleans here in the 4th. I want to tell you the McDonald's and Sports 1140 KHTK's Kings Gold ticket packs for the December 30th game against the Celts will only be for sale at the McDonald's restaurant at 170 Iron Point Road in Folsom. It will be Tuesday, November 22nd from 5 to 9. Call 916-45-KINGS or visit kings.com for more information. A very athletic J.R. Smith having a nice ball game with 17 points.
Well, it certainly is. 20 years old. You see catching, shooting over the top of a nice screen from David West. Again, just a catch and shoot variety. But that 6'5" can explode to the basket, able to finish in a crowd, gets out ahead of everybody, and shows you the amazing leap and hops that he has. It's second-year player, came right out of high school, early pick, and you see 17 points, 4 rebounds, and boy, you get the impression that he and Chris Paul are going to make a nice set of guards for a lot of years.
Jerry, 19,163 in attendance tonight.
Well, they certainly getting their money's worth from their hometown Hornets here tonight.
And a building that was built for $90 million. And they have done a heck of a job here in Oklahoma City.
That's got to be the best bargain in arena history, isn't it?
Yep.
Other than maybe the second Arco for, I think, $40 million or whatever.
And Martin and the Kings come up with it. A lead for Hart. Thomas to finish.
Well, nice play, Jason Hart, to a running, sprinting Kenny Thomas. So that was a nice play by the Kings in the open court.
Rick Adelman trying to find units that can play together, work together. And so regardless of what the score is, this being the first game and you have a game tomorrow, very important minutes for everyone on the floor.
Well, you could just chop this thing down to get it into the 10-point variety. A lot of things might change. What's just nice is Jason Hart gets the ball from Kevin Martin, explodes to the basket, a little over-the-shoulder pass to a sprinting Kenny Thomas. Another look at it. Jason sees the defender coming, gets it to Kenny just at the right time. That's well executed.
Chris Paul is in. 2 seconds on the clock. That's 2 to shoot. Oh, wide open. That's just inexcusable. I mean, nobody was on him. 75-57. And the rebound taken by Desmond Mason.
Well, each time it looks like there may be a little momentum switch. It just doesn't last more than about 30 seconds.
And a foul is called. Brian Skinner picks up the foul.
Let's see.
I mean,
with only 2 seconds left, as you said, I mean, it's not a secret that they've got to pretty much catch and shoot. And that's exactly what they're able to do.
75-57. Well, tomorrow night, the Houston Rockets will have it for you at 5:30 over on News 10. And that's a blocking foul on Kevin Martin with 1 on the shot clock. Tomorrow also the first anniversary of Comcast Sportsnet. We are thrilled to be with you for a large portion of the schedule right here on Comcast Sportsnet. But right now, Kings fans not thrilled with what they're seeing on the floor. It has been all New Orleans. They led by a point at the end of 1. They led 44-33 at the half. And they outscored the Kings 28-19 in the third. They just keep on making shots.
And David West facing up with that 18-20-footer. He and P.J. Brown both have made those consistently. Yeah, you go back to that first quarter, looked like the Kings were really playing very well and had a little bit of control for a brief few minutes in the first quarter. And boy, Speedy Claxton kind of turned it around, and it's been all Hornets since.
Shot block. And now look at the hustle. And the fans again respond. 5 on the shot clock. Kings ball.
Which is Kenny Thomas penetrates, but there's Chris Anderson just throwing it away, and then you see the hustle by Desmond Mason, even with a 20-point lead, just going over a few photographers.
They set a double screen up for Jason Hart, and it's over his head. Here's the breakaway. And Speedy Claxton. And this game is all over.
Well, again, that was one of those turnovers that's almost impossible to understand. Just totally thrown away. No pressure.
Not the way Rick Adelman envisioned starting the season. And the Kings with their 18th turnover. And it's gone from worse to worse. I mean, this is just not good basketball. And with 5:43 left, there's a timeout. It's all Hornets here on opening night.
Going back home to my baby, going back to New Orleans.
Well, Halloween last night, NBA basketball tonight for the youngsters here in Oklahoma City. Yeah, right now you are number 1. And a lot of doubt whether or not the Hornets will be even able to go back to New Orleans or will be wanted back in New Orleans. And I say wanted in the sense of making it viable. And it's only opening night, but boy, 19,000 wouldn't mind seeing the Hornets play here for a long time.
Well, it's been just an amazing night for Oklahoma City and supporting this basketball team, and then of course the Hornets have did their part, and unfortunately the Kings have did their part in making a memorable night as well for Oklahoma City, because they certainly have really just played some of the worst basketball that we really haven't seen quite like this during the preseason.
Well, hopefully the Kings will be able to get to Houston tonight and get a good night's sleep, get there safely, and get ready for the Rockets, who will be playing their first game tomorrow night. Rockets sitting at home watching this one, 81-57.
Well, it'd be hard for the Rockets to learn a lot about the Kings from this game, other than getting quite confident.
Corliss Williamson is in for the first time. Garcia, no, and the rebound taken by the Hornets. Here's Paul, the alley-oop. Oh, that would have brought the house down. J.R. Smith, that would have been spectacular.
And Chris Paul and J.R. Smith almost connected. And you saw that all the way, boy. J.R. running it. Here's Chris Paul just running it right up the backs of the Kings and laying it out there for the acrobatic J.R. Smith.
I'll tell you, the fans are going to see a lot of that this year. These two kids are unbelievable. Of course, Smith, he always is a highlight guy.
Well, there's going to be more highlights because he's playing with Chris Paul this year and Claxton.
And another turnover. Being very repetitive with the word turnover tonight. That's 19.
Well, the Hornets, certainly with their quickness and youth and energy, their defense has came right along with it, as Coach Carrill not seeing anything that he likes at all.
81-57. Kevin Martin on the foul.
Kevin Martin really trying to get up, play a little defense. Kevin not sure exactly what he did there. I don't know if it. I'm sure either. It looked like that all the contact was by the by the dribbler, but right now it's all going Hornets' way. Rick Allen frustrated as well.
Speedy Claxton, really, Jerry, when you look back to the first half, he changed the game around when he came in off the bench, as you were saying. I mean, he just was unbelievable.
Yeah, the Kings really, when Speedy came onto the court, the Kings at that point had a little bit of control of the game, and he just simply
they were up by 7 points at that time.
He turned it around, and just from that point on, it's been, between Speedy and then P.J. Brown got in the action. From that point on, it's been everybody, and it's been all Hornets.
Kevin Martin, nope. And the Kings now shooting 30% exactly. Garcia, nope. And that shooting percentage is down to 29%. And the Hornets turn it over. That's their 20th turnover.
Well, the other side of this is, really the Hornets, as much energy, they're playing with a lot of energy and effort. You got to admire that, but they haven't been particularly efficient either. It's been a case of the Kings shooting so poorly that they get out in the open court and all that, but I mean, they really should probably have 93 points at least by now with all the opportunities they've had.
Yeah, 20 turnovers. Jerry, the Kings have only scored 7 points off the 20 turnovers. Only 7. 4 minutes left. And a game that the Kings would like to forget.
Well, it's one of those things in an 82-game schedule. He's got to. J.R. Smith just makes a very difficult shot. Pretty well defended on that one, but that's what he can do.
85-57. Garcia posting, and the basket counts, so go to the line. So Francisco Garcia with his first NBA hoop and a chance for a three-point play.
Well, normally getting your first basket in the NBA would be memorable, but I'm sure Francisco's not too thrilled at this stage. It's a nice entry pass from Corliss Williamson, and Francisco takes the contact on the elbow from Speedy Claxton, able to finish the shot. And Chris Paul getting a big hug from Byron Scott. Byron certainly has to be very, very pleased with his young guard, and I think Byron will do a terrific job with these young guards, J.R. Smith and Chris Paul. He's been there. He's been through it, and he's going to be able to kind of give them the guidance they need. And this team's going to win a lot more than 18 games this year. I don't know how many it'll win, but it's going to win a lot more than 18.
They're going to win at least one, I'll tell you that. Also into the ball game for the first time, Arvydas Macijauskas. And Macijauskas from Lithuania. And Bass lost it. But the team's, does go out of bounds. 3 on the shot clock.
Yeah, Brandon Bass, the rookie out of LSU, second-round pick. Very strong, solid young player. A little bit small for a power forward.
Macijauskas, all right, for those of you who like to study the Lithuanian culture, Macijauskas.
Macijauskas.
Yep. And a foul will send Martin to the line.
Well, nice give and go that time from Kenny Thomas to the cutting Kevin Martin.
There's Arvydas.
He's got the Vlade Divac growth.
Yep. Nothing falling for the Kings at the moment.
And right now, Kevin saying that basket looks about the size of a thimble, and just squeeze one in here.
Jerry, a real key in this basketball game, when you look at Bibby and Wells, they combined 5 of 22 shooting. Meanwhile, you look at Paul and Smith. All right, I mean, they combined for 32 points. As you're watching it on Comcast Sportsnet, Grant Napier and Jerry Reynolds, final minutes here in a disappointing game from the Kings' perspective in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I think the production of P.J. Brown, as opposed to Brad Miller not being one of his least productive games of his career, possibly. And,
Brad had only 4 points in 25 minutes, Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, Brad Miller's one of those guys who usually fills the stat sheets, but he didn't tonight, and P.J. Brown certainly did.
And with 2:28 left, a mandatory timeout. 85-61 Hornets. $85-61.
Well, Ronnie Price getting some minutes here. Great opportunity for the young guy.
Now Martin. And Kevin Martin makes the baseline shot. 2 minutes left.
2 minutes remaining regulation. 2 minutes.
And a foul called. And Macijauskas will go to the line.
Kevin Martin, after making the free throw, a little step away there to get a hoop to go down. Been struggling a little bit, but maybe that will get him on track in future games.
Well, Macijauskas with 2 free throws. $85-64. Well, if I told you before the game started the Kings might not score 70 points, you probably would have raised your eyebrows quite a bit.
They might have fell off my face.
There's Garcia. Nice pass to Kenny Thomas.
Well, nice little penetrating move from Francisco. Well, I'd say these kind of minutes, they're called garbage minutes, but that doesn't mean you can't go out there and play good basketball, and that's what young guys have got to do. Take every minute they're on the court, try to do good things.
89-65.
Just like Brandon Bass did for the Hornets.
Here's Price.
Oh yeah, Price got pushed from behind after the shot. The officials, I think, trying to get this one over themselves.
You think so? Pretty obvious on that ball. And Roman, and the basket counts.
Well, when it goes, it goes. And Jackson Broman, former Iowa State star, second-year player, able to penetrate, throw up a little bit of a hoper here. You see him turn into the lane, go up to the left hand, draw some contact, and just get it up over the top of everybody.
Well, Jerry, the one thing is the Kings need to regroup, and they need to regroup quickly because they've got a game tomorrow in Houston. And I can't imagine the Kings shooting as poorly tomorrow as they have tonight. But the turnovers, and they've gotten destroyed on the boards at 51-34.
Well, and they're going against a much better team tomorrow in Houston. There's no doubt about it. The Rockets are a championship caliber contender, so they're going to have to play, just quite honestly 100% better. They're going to play better in every phase of the game.
Jerry, one thing that's very apparent, we saw a lot of this in the preseason. Teams are utilizing their quickness and athleticism against the Kings after made baskets, after missed shots. Teams are running out on Sacramento, and that's been a big part of the story tonight as well.
Really taking advantage of the Kings' transition defense, and certainly also pressuring them to use up clock getting into their offense. As you say, it's been a pretty consistent pattern now. The Kings really have to be a little more creative, maybe in finding a way to take advantage of some of those situations, because you got to here again you got to take advantage of what the defense gives you or tries to do to you.
Williamson, and a foul there. That's the first in the last 2 minutes.
I mean, you have to keep in mind that when you got the Paige Stojakovic's and Mike Bibby's and Brad Miller's, and these guys have played on a lot of big winners.
Yes, they have.
Bonzi Wells. I mean, these guys have played so they know how to win. They've won. Now obviously they didn't do it tonight, but they've got to come, kind of get it together and realize that we were out of sync offensively. Tried to make things happen too quickly. We forced the issue on offense. We didn't really do the things we had to do defensively. All those things.
Sure.
It's the little things that become big things, and that's what we saw tonight. Don't do the little things, it turns into big things.
And the schedule gets more difficult. Houston tomorrow, Phoenix on Sunday, back home to take on Detroit, and then at Denver, and then home against Denver. So, hey, one thing, as you just said, there are a lot of good basketball players. You just hope, if you're Rick Adelman, that this is an aberration.
Well, and if you're Rick Allen, you've got a lot of things you can sit down and show them and talk about, and they've got to pay attention because it's right there. It's on tape. It's easy to see.
And that will do it. 19,163 on a festive opening night in Oklahoma City. See the Hornets polish off the Kings. 93-67. And the Kings now can only hope that tomorrow is better. We'll be back and wrap it up as the Hornets in a romp win it 93-67.